All right, so welcome to the Unnamed Podcast. I am Michael,
I'm Tyler.
and we're just going to talk about some football.
Yeah, that's what
real
we do.
casual. So we're going to start off with our bold predictions.
Yeah.
Tyler, I want you to jump into it first.
You want me to go first?
I
Okay. I am a firm believer that the Baltimore Ravens are going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And I think that because I'm not high on Lamar Jackson at all. I don't think he can throw a football at an NFL level. I think he's a great running back. But I don't think he can throw a football. I don't think their running game will repeat. They got Mark Ingram, but I think I don't think there's enough overall talent in that backfield to really make it work.
I can see that. I mean, their backfield, it has Mark Ingram. Gus Edwards was really good last year. I
just don't see him repeating.
No, I feel like defenses can easily figure that scheme out. I mean, if you just load the box up, and who's the
number one wide receiver right now?
Hollywood Brown, and he's a rookie.
Yeah,
you can't really trust a rookie.
It's not like he's a super skilled receiver.
No, he's a deep threat, and that's it. And Lamar can't throw the ball, so
right.
I can see it. I'm not big on Baltimore's offense. I think their defense is great.
No, I disagree.
You don't like their defense?
I think they lost all their pieces. No more Mosley. No more Zadarius Smith. No more Weddle.
True.
Jimmy Smith is old.
But Marlon Humphrey's a great corner.
Marlon Humphrey and Suggs is gone. Granted, Suggs wasn't great, but he's still Terrell Suggs.
Tavon Young is all right. He's nothing special, but he's an improving corner. Their safeties are a little weak, but their front seven.
They won't repeat as I think they were technically the best defense in the NFL last year
by yards.
Which is a terrible way to rate defenses. But by yards, they were the best defense in the NFL. Not happening again. I think they'll be at best maybe middle of the pack.
I'm not that high on them. I mean, their division is pretty good with the Steelers and the Browns.
I think their division is just really deep. I think the Bengals can knock a game off you if you really need to.
I like their offense as much as I don't like Dalton. I love Mixon.
I'm actually kind of for the Bengals. I wouldn't describe myself as an Andy Dalton fan, but I think he gets the job done. The AJ Green injury complicates things.
Yeah, that hurt their offense a lot.
But Tyler Boyd is good. I'm high on Tyler Boyd, especially in fantasy. I'm big on Tyler Boyd.
I'm really big on Joe Mixon this year. I
agree, especially at his price. I think you can get top 5 value in the second round with Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon last year was incredible. And then he was
the 4th leading rusher?
I think he was, yeah. And he still missed 2 games or a game and a half. Yeah. And he still had Bernard back there stealing touches from him.
Yeah, especially in the receiving game.
Yeah, but Mixon is a known he can catch the ball.
Yeah.
I think Bernard, if he's even on the roster anymore, doesn't have any role at all next year.
Is he on the roster?
I don't know. I can check. He's nobody in that offense anymore. It's going to be Mixon. My bold prediction, I believe that Washington Redskins will finish top 2 in the NFC East.
Top 2?
Top 2. They are going.
Who's going to play quarterback for them?
I think Haskins starts week 3.
Haskins starts week 3. Who starts before that?
Keenum.
Okay.
He'll go 0-2 because he's a subpar quarterback.
But you know who they play week 3?
Who do they play with?
I think they play Chicago week 3.
Okay, they're going to start
be week 4 though.
They're going to start Haskins before or after Chicago. They don't want to throw him into that fire how Arizona threw Rosen into the fire. I was very upset at Arizona.
As a Bears fan, I was very happy.
I was mad. As just a fan of football, I was watching that. I was like, you don't put Rosen down against Chicago's defense. Yeah. You gotta just save him. Him. You just save his confidence.
The way Mac was playing at that point. At that point, Mac was the MVP.
He was
great. Through the first quarter of the season, Mac was MVP.
It was Mac and Mahomes, and most people went with Mac just because of how dominant he was on defense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see Washington. I like their talent.
I think they're the kind of team that will take a game off you. I like Landon Collins a lot.
I'm big on him.
I think they'll miss Preston Smith a little bit.
He was solid for them. Norman is getting a little old as a corner.
I agree.
He isn't the same guy he was in Carolina.
Right.
But he's still a solid corner. I mean,
I like their running backs a lot.
They have a lot of
I like Geis.
They have
Geis.
Geis.
Like Thompson.
I still like Peterson.
Yeah.
Even though he's old, He's still
He'll get his
solid.
carries.
He's still solid when he gets his carries.
I think Geis will. I think it'll be like 60-40. Geis getting the 60 and Peterson getting the 40. That would be my guess.
Thompson.
That'd be the way I would do.
I don't really see Thompson being that good this year in fantasy either. I think
as
Geis
far as
can
fantasy
catch
goes,
enough.
but he's enough of a threat to where.
I wouldn't be mad if someone took him late rounds.
Yeah, I'd be fine with taking him in like 12th, 13th round.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I actually have a bold player prediction here. Josh Allen.
I agree.
I am very high on Josh Allen this year. I think he's going to do something. I don't know if this has happened before, and if it has, this will be only the second time that it has ever happened. I believe Josh Allen has a major chance to throw for 4,000 yards and rush for 1,000 yards.
Really?
I believe he can.
Has that ever been done?
I know Michael Vick ran for 1,000 yards once, and I don't know his passing yards for that season. But
what I like your thinking, but my issue is that Josh Allen just does not have the same run. I mean, he's a talented runner.
He is, but
he's not Michael Vick.
I know, but he has not a good offensive line. Not a good running back either. McCoy's all right at this point.
I like McCoy in fantasy.
Really?
Like in like the 10th round.
He
Just
is
a guy that can start a game for you in a pinch if you need it.
Yeah.
In the 10th round, I'll take that.
But I'm saying, like, football-wise, I think, like, Allen had some great rushing games last year. At the last month of the season, he was QB1.
Really?
Yeah, he was QB1 last month of the season. And with his rushing, I mean, he showed surprising athleticism, and we use that because he's white.
Right.
We say surprising athleticism.
Yeah.
But
he's scrappy.
He's scrappy, yes. Hard worker.
The guy has all the arm talent in the world.
Yes.
Actually, I would compare him to Jay Cutler a lot.
He reminds me of Jay Cutler, but a little bit more athletic.
Yeah.
Cutler was like
Cutler could run.
Cutler could run for some first downs, but he didn't seem to care enough.
Yeah.
But Allen, I mean, just watching him play, if he just had more help.
Yeah.
But he has a good deep threat this year.
I do like Sean McDermott.
I think he's a good offensive mind. I mean, he gets hated on for the Peterman stuff, which he deserves to be.
Yeah.
Peterman was terrible. No reason to start him over Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
But I mean, Allen didn't have many wide receivers, but they did get John Brown. He is a good, solid deep threat, and Allen.
I guess outside of John Brown, who's there?
Let me say Jones is talented. He's not bad.
I'm not a
that cool stand-up thing he did that one time.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it made a whole challenge.
I guess like, who's their tight end? Is like Charles Clay
I think
still
it's still
around?
Charles Clay. I don't
know. I guess solid. I look at that offense and there's no talent around him, and I just don't think that there is enough around him where he can make those plays.
I can see that, but I also think that they're going to be losing a lot.
Yeah.
So there's
a lot of garbage time.
Like how Winston and Fitzpatrick last year, how they would just put up dumb numbers.
Yeah.
I can see that for Allen. Only thing is that Tampa actually has weapons on offense. They have had a lot of good wideouts, and O.J. Howard was great. Cameron Brate was great.
Yeah. There's something I was going to say. I forgot what it was. Oh, so about your Redskins thing.
Oh, my Redskins.
Who do they knock out of the top two then?
I don't think Dallas makes top two. I think Zeke, like you said, he's going to hold out.
I think everything rides on Zeke.
And if he does hold out, they do not get top two in the division. He makes Dak Prescott a good quarterback. And we all saw without Zeke.
With how good that offensive line is, though, I think they can function. Remember when Darren McFadden was their starter? And
he did good.
He was good.
But last year, or 2 years ago, the 6-game suspension, Dak did not look good without Zeke. The running game was fine. But everyone knew, like, hey, Dak, not a threat.
Dak does not have that back.
Now, but he also didn't have Amari Cooper, who did help their offensive lot. But I don't see Dallas being as good as everyone says. Like, they're Super Bowl contenders to a lot of people.
I would call them. If you made me choose right now, I'm picking them to make the playoffs. I think they're a wild card team.
This is bold predictions, so I say boldly.
Yeah, boldly.
The Redskins will take the Cowboys.
How many games do they win then? Like 8, 9?
I think 8. So then I see Cowboys like 7-9.
Yeah.
Like barely missing.
And then the Giants win like 4.
The Giants are terrible.
How high are you on Philadelphia?
I'm not as high as everyone else, but I do really like them.
I'm skeptical of Wentz and his ability to stay healthy. Although I don't like that argument. I don't like making an argument for a team based on health.
Because you can never predict it.
It's random.
Never can predict it. But people do forget that the 1 year he was healthy for majority of the season.
MVP.
He was the MVP of the season until he got hurt, and even then, he still could have won it.
Yeah.
He led the league in passing touchdowns, and he missed the last 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
He was everyone's number one quarterback. Then everyone forgot because of Mahomes.
Yeah.
Mahomes came in last year and lit the world on fire, and everyone's like, when's who? He got hurt again.
Yeah.
But he was also playing hurt last year, just to try to help him, because Foles was terrible to start last year.
Right.
Foles is gonna. This is a fact. Foles is not gonna be good in Jacksonville.
I wouldn't say not good.
He's not gonna be Philly playoffs.
He won't be Philly, but I do think that he will. Obviously, he'll be way better than Bortles.
I mean, yeah.
But I think what he'll do for Jacksonville is he won't mess things up for them like Bortles did. He will keep you in the game. Let your defense win you games. Let your playmakers make plays like a Leonard Fournette. I hear Leonard Fournette's been having a great camp.
I'm high on him from where he's getting
I like
drafted.
him for his value.
He's getting drafted in like the 5th round. I think with the running backs that are there after you take like all the obvious picks like Saquon and Christian McCaffrey and Kamara.
I think max I'd take him as like late 3rd, and that's like absolute max if it's like if there's a big running back run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if like all the running backs are just going, then you got to.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at Fournette as being your RB2.
Yeah, I agree.
I think a mid-tier RB2, very high flex.
Yeah.
If he's your flex, you're set.
Yeah. I'm skeptical of Jacksonville's weapons though.
I don't see much on offense. I mean,
I think
Westbrook is their number one wide receiver.
I like all of their guys as like a 3rd or 4th receiver.
Yeah, I don't like them any as
I
number one. They miss out.
Marquise Lee is solid. Westbrook is solid. I like Keelan Cole the most out of all of them.
I loved Keelan Cole last year, and then he just started doing it. Nothing.
Yeah.
As soon as I started
2 years ago in fantasy, I picked up Westbrook late in the year, and he had some decent games for me.
You never know, because all those guys are they're all solid.
They're all the same guy.
That's what I like.
They're just interchangeable names.
If you just showed me a clip of them running around
without a number, like it's one of 3 of them, but
I don't know who it could be.
Yeah,
no clue.
Did they draft any receivers or anything?
I don't think so. Their draft was kind of uneventful to me.
I can't even think of who they drafted. Oh,
they got Josh
Allen. The linebacker.
Which doesn't make sense to me because they run a 4-3 and he's definitely a 3-4 guy.
Sense.
I think they just took him because he was the best player available, which is a solid thing to
the
do.
Right philosophy.
But he doesn't.
They took him at 7, right?
7,
I'm trying to think of who else was on the board at that point.
No one were the Devons on the board.
Ed Oliver.
Was he? No, I think he went to 6.
I thought Oliver went 8 to Buffalo. I thought who the linebacker that went to Tampa at 6?
Devin White or Devin
White.
Bush. One of those two.
I think it was Devin White.
Because there was 2 linebackers named Devin, and it was really confusing.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh got 1.
It went Kyler, and then 2 was
Nick Bosa.
2 was Bosa. 3 was
Williams. And then 4. Who was 4?
Who's 4? Who picked 4?
I'm looking.
6 was was 6 Daniel Jones?
6 was Daniel Jones.
Was Daniel
7 was
7 was Allen. 8 was Oliver.
Oliver went 9. 9 for Oliver. 8 was Hawkinson.
Okay.
The tight end. So I mean, yeah, they should have took Oliver in my opinion, or
I would even say Hawkinson over him.
Yeah, they need offense.
Yeah.
I think Hawkinson was a little bit high.
Yeah.
Especially since I like Fant more. And Fant went
I didn't have
way
a
later.
big opinion on either of them.
It's weird that they both came out of the same college and they were 1 and 2 by far for tight ends.
And of course it was Iowa. Of course, 2
Iowa is the tight end U.
And offensive lineman U.
Oh my God, yes. I mean Kittle is from Iowa.
Kittle's from Iowa. Yeah, Marshall Yana's from Iowa.
Yeah. Is it Bulaga from Iowa?
I think Bulaga might be from Iowa. I know Micah Hyde is from Iowa.
I know that.
Yeah. Obviously, those are secondary players,
but yeah, for Jacksonville to take Allen, I would think it was smart because he was the best player available. I would have went Oliver. I really liked Oliver.
Yeah,
he might have been the most talented player in that draft. Out the defense.
Yeah,
he was on a garbage Houston team, and he was still he's getting double and triple teamed every time.
Well, in Buffalo, Buffalo's gonna benefit from him a lot.
Yeah. He's
I think you can call Oliver this. At this point, you can maybe call Oliver the steal of the draft.
Yeah, even though he went 9, very big steal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of the Giants at all in their drafting.
Yeah, that's a whole different thing altogether.
I'm just saying, I'm looking at it right now. I mean, you take Daniel Jones to sit when you have no talent on your team.
And Haskins is on the board.
Oh my God, Haskins is on the board.
I like Haskins a lot.
I like Haskins way more than I like Daniel Jones, first of all. But Haskins was my favorite quarterback.
In the entire draft?
I liked him more than Kyler.
Really?
I just think he played.
I'm a Kyler fan, especially in Arizona.
But I really liked how Haskins played against tough defenses.
Yeah.
Against Michigan, who had the number 1 defense, or top 5 defense at the least, coming into that game.
Yeah.
Just picked them apart easily.
Yeah.
In the pocket.
It's kind of a weird comparison to make, but he does show some like Brady tendencies. Just like knowing where to put the ball, whether he's
taking what's there,
whether he's throwing it to somebody or throwing it away.
Brady
is one of the only guys in the league that I can think of right now that has that trait of to be able to throw the ball away on the field.
Yes. I saw a little bit of that with Mahomes. Because, he'd throw it, and I'd be like, where's he throwing that to? Because there would be nobody around. Yeah. But it's on the field. So, yeah. But I really liked Haskins, watching him play.
I think it's a great pick for
Washington had nothing to lose there.
Yeah.
At 15, they did not expect him. They were in talks to getting Rosen. Because they weren't expecting Haskins to fall to 15.
Yeah.
I didn't think Miami messed up not picking Haskins.
Where did they pick? 11,
they had 13 or 12. They had 13. They took Christian Wilkins, who's a good defensive tackle out of Clemson.
Yeah.
But they're.
I guess when you're Miami though,
you also don't have a lot of talent.
You have nothing. What is a D tackle doing for you? Like the Jerry Tillery pick for the Chargers. I loved that pick.
Yeah.
Because they were so bad in run defense, and you get a guy like that, and that's all they need. That I love the Chargers roster so much, but it just disappoints me where that it's the Chargers.
Every time, I think the past 2 years, maybe 2 or 3, they've said that the Chargers will win the division and beat the Chiefs. Now, I am a little biased as a Chiefs fan, but this is a fact that I know. The Chiefs have lost 2 division games in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
One was the game against Oakland, where Oakland got 35 chances to win at the end of the game.
I remember that.
That was my most annoyed game.
Was that a Thursday or Monday night game?
It was a Thursday night game. Yeah. They won, and then they got called back for offensive, and then they lost.
Was it 3 times?
It was 4.
It was 4.
2 defensive, 2 offensive. Then they finally won the game, and that was when the Chiefs started undefeated, they always do.
Well, because they started that year pretty bad.
Oakland? Or Kansas City?
Kansas City. Didn't they start off the year?
Or was it the other way around? That year. They started off on fire, and then that was the year when Nagy was still the OC.
Yeah.
And they started off hot, I think, and then that's when they cooled down. Was after Oakland, and then they lost to Pittsburgh, and then it just started to fall apart.
Yeah.
But then they lost that game to L.A., and that was a tough game to watch as a Chiefs fan. I mean, the pass interference call that got...
I don't remember much about that game.
I vividly remember this because they called pass interference on, I think, Kendall Fuller. And it was offensive pass interference, first of all.
Yeah.
Mike Williams pushed off of Kendall Fuller, and then Kendall Fuller tried to reach to grab him back, and they called defensive pass interference.
Yeah.
And then they got a touchdown, and then obviously LA should go for 2 right there.
Yeah.
They do. Orlando Scandrick, the worst corner in football.
Yes.
By far.
It's all coming back to me now.
He was the worst corner I think I've ever watched. He wore Marcus...
He was all right in Dallas.
No, okay, but for the Chiefs, he was god-awful. Yeah. He took Marcus Peters' number, who in coverage did get beat a lot, but he would make up for it with his great plays that he doesn't do in LA now. Yeah. But, I mean, they just left Mike Williams wide open. Orlando didn't even try.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, oh, the Chargers, they're so great. And then Brady just destroys them.
Yeah, that was a divisional round, right?
That was the divisional round after they beat Baltimore.
Has that Chargers team with Rivers ever gone to a conference championship?
I think they went to one or 2. And then
it was a long time ago.
It was when they had LT.
Yeah. The thing with the Chargers is I love that. I firmly believe that if you picked up that roster and just traded them with Jets,
if you put them in
a bigger market and give them a home field advantage,
because they don't, they play 16 road games.
Yes,
they do, and they had the best road record last year. I think they lost 1, maybe none.
And especially when it's even worse when you've got the Rams, and it's not like the Rams are big in LA, but they're bigger than the Chargers.
So LA goes from begging for football, right, to getting 2 teams, and then they still don't even sell out this. Like, why do you do that? Like, you go to more USC games than you do Rams and Chargers games.
Well, and the Dodgers are just so big.
The Dodgers are huge, but don't ask
and
for
obviously
football.
The Lakers and
don't ask for football if you're not gonna appreciate it. Like St. Louis misses the Rams right now.
Yeah.
Like they're like Kansas City's like just trying to help them out a little bit. Like they've talked about playing one home game in St. Louis to help them out. It's like, hey, we're sorry that LA
is that stadium still up?
I think so.
It's an old stadium, right?
It was. That's why they left because they wouldn't.
They wanted a new stadium. They wouldn't get it.
But Kansas City's home field advantage is real. For the Chargers to go in there and win,
Kansas City's home. I would say it's like above like Seattle a few years ago.
Yeah, well, Seattle's don't. Kansas City actually holds the record for the loudest, and that was the year where Kansas City and Seattle were going back and forth every game.
Yeah,
Kansas City's never going to break their own record. They just took out a bunch of seats.
Yeah,
so they're not going to break their own thing.
Right.
But being there, AFC Championship game, I was there in the seats.
Yeah.
Never been at a louder experience. I've been at concerts.
Yeah.
Pretty close up. Not nearly as loud as third down when Tom Brady had the football.
Yeah.
Of course, it got silent when he got the first down. But on third down, it was the loudest I've ever heard.
Yeah.
That first half was terrible. If we're going to go back to the AFC Championship, I just want to say Bill Belichick does have Mahomes' number only in the first half, though. In the second half, Bill Belichick has no idea what to do with it.
You're just here to stick up for the Chiefs now, aren't you?
It's what it's looking like, sounding like.
You went from Washington Redskins to now you're
True, we never got to our other predictions. Here's another player prediction. Go back to L.A. Todd Gurley's not going to rush for 1,000 yards this season.
I completely agree. I almost put that on there, but I don't consider it a bold enough prediction.
Really? You don't? Do you think that's just a normal take?
I think it should be normal. I think
crazy.
Among the general consensus NFL fans, they don't understand how bad his knee really is. The man is getting paid millions of dollars to be the best running back in the league. A running back. He is paid to hold the football and run with it, and he has arthritis in his knee.
That's not good.
And he was so. Why do you think C.J. Anderson took over all those carries?
There's a reason why C.J. Anderson.
One, the system. 2, Gurley was terrible. He sucked.
C.J. Anderson was a former Bronco, and he was never good. I mean, he had one good season. He had one good season where I was like, I don't like this guy. And then he was
fat too.
He was fat. C.J. Anderson. Chiefs fans were actually talking about why didn't we pick up C.J. Anderson after we cut Kareem Hunt because of how good he looked for the Rams. I don't see Gurley.
I think Anderson would have done well with Kansas City just because they do have a good running system and Mahomes. But I think LA's going to fall off a little bit. I think they'll still be a playoff team.
I think they're going to go. They're still. I don't know if they win that division. It's a tough division.
That division is just. It's so.
Everyone's there. Even though like the Cardinals and the Niners were the worst 2 teams in football last year.
That's my next bold prediction is that the Cardinals will be legit contenders in the NFC West. I think that the Kyler Murray air raid is going to be legit. The Kyler Murray air raid is... I'm ready for it.
I enjoy the talent that they have at the wide receiver position.
It's going to be fun, and Kyler's going to make plays.
I just don't think he has the offensive line. He's going to be running for his life.
But he can do that, though.
But, I mean, watching film on Rosen.
And he's got David Johnson out of the backfield.
Watching film on Rosen, yes, he struggled.
Rosen was running for his life.
People gave up on Rosen too soon. He put up similar stats to the other.
Wilkes was terrible. Kingsbury's going to be able to scheme up some blocks. I don't think people realize that a lot of blocking schemes, they do so much. Like if you can scheme up blocks for your guys, and I think Kingsbury will be able to do that. I think he'll be pretty good.
I don't know. I feel like teams are going to do what they did to Baker, like good teams, which is if you watch what they did to Baker, they just force him to stand behind his own offensive lineman and throw the ball.
Yeah.
Now, Baker was great still, but against good teams, like the great teams,
he struggled. More athletic.
They're not the same player. I'm just
when you're making that argument, you could almost say Kyler being undersized in his advantage. When he's able to just sneak out, that guy's hard to get a hold of.
short people are hard to tackle. Why do you think Cohen and all of them are hard to tackle? Lindsey, they're low to the ground. They're hard to tackle.
Yeah, that low center of gravity. They're super agile.
I see Kyler's
gonna get out of pocket and make plays,
but I think
there's not a lot.
I think their defense isn't that good either. I mean, they have Chandler Jones. Pat Pete's gone for 4 games. That hurts.
4 games. Even if he was, we know they're not going to be contenders. So Pat Pete gone for 4 games doesn't get me that much. I think a healthy Budda Baker helps them.
Solid. Who's it? Swearinger is their other safety, right?
I think so. They've got Buchanan playing in the box.
This was a solid move for them.
Yeah,
he's a good sub line.
I think their defense will be like somewhere in that 20 to 25 range, but I think they'll be good enough just to knock some games off. I think that the Cardinals will split all of their games in their division. I think they will knock a game off of Seattle, San Francisco, and the Rams.
I don't like San Francisco. I don't
really. I disagree.
I like Kittle, and I like Garoppolo a little bit.
I love Garoppolo last year in fantasy at Garoppolo's price point. I love.
Yeah, he's going
Garoppolo
undrafted
a lot.
But this was the same thing last year. Everyone was on the 49ers train. Mm-hmm. I just want to slow the roll down on Garoppolo here. He's good, but is he what he got paid good? I don't know, because he barely played. Last year he looked.
Everything is there. He was good.
He's not the best decision maker. Obviously, that's why he got hurt. You're getting killed. You decide you want to cut in towards Justin Houston instead of taking it out of bounds. What best case scenario gets an extra yard when you're already down 17 in the
third. I think you're splitting hairs at that point, though. You know what I mean?
His throwing a bit. I mean, but when he was playing for San Francisco or whoever at the end of the season before he got the big, San Francisco before he got paid.
Yeah.
His games would be like 300 yards, no touchdowns, 1 pick. 310 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick.
In a new system
with Shanahan's
bad
great
team.
But
I think the things are starting to fall into place for the Niners. You've got your quarterback. You've got I like the room of running backs from like just an NFL perspective.
Yeah, not
away from fantasy. I hate their running backs for fantasy. And Shanahan is going to do a good job mixing around Coleman, McKinnon, and Breida. I think he's going to do a really good job mixing those guys around.
They're all the same player.
Yeah, they are.
Exact same to me. Maybe like a little bit difference, but like they're all small, fast guys. Yeah. There's not like a thunder and lightning duo. It's just lightning 3 times.
But I think they can get away with it, especially with Shanahan.
Shanahan's great as a play designer.
I think the receivers are kind of underrated. I like Pettis. I like Goodwin.
Pettis is good.
Yeah.
For being a reach in the draft.
All of their weapons seem to be like tiny, fast guys.
They don't seem to have any, like, besides Kittle, who's actually a very fast tight end.
Oh, yeah.
Ridiculously fast tight end.
Yeah. And he's what, 6'4"?
He's not small.
He's not exactly on the smaller size, but he's on the smaller side, but he's not a big dude.
He's an average size tight end.
Yeah.
He's not like a Gronk.
Right.
Kelsey's big too.
Yeah, Kelsey's like 6'7".
Yeah, he's big. I don't like him. I just don't.
I think Bosa's going to be good. I like obviously
their defensive line is incredible.
Their front 7 as a whole is.
What are they doing with Solomon Thomas though? Former number.
I don't think he needs to be as good anymore. So maybe he gets some pressure taken off. Obviously, he hasn't lived up to the hype, and it feels good as a Bears fan to say that.
Yeah, I bet it would because you guys traded up to get Trubisky.
Well, every mock draft everywhere had the Bears taking Thomas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I stand by the Trubisky trade to this day. I stand by it. Because teams are trying to trade up to that spot. They didn't give up that much, and they got picks back later. And when they traded back, they still drafted Cody Whitehair.
Yes. In that time frame when it was made, I was a big Rosen guy during that draft, the Trubisky draft. So in my mind, I was thinking Bears, you either take Watson or you're waiting another year. You get a Darnold, you get a Rosen,
but I thought
you get a Baker.
I thought it was a great idea to draft a quarterback when they did. Because that opened up the door to take Roquan or a guy like a Quentin Nelson. Because like last year's draft was pretty stacked outside of the quarterbacks. So if you don't have to worry about a quarterback, then those better other position players, they're falling.
But
Roquan might be. I mean, Quentin Nelson's probably the best player in that draft.
Oh
but
my
he's
God,
also
he's
a guard.
So good.
As far as like a playmaker outside of quarterback and Saquon,
Saquon doesn't count. He's I think he's better than Quentin Nelson in that draft, but I was on the Saquon.
It seems like it's Saquon and
trade.
Nelson, and then in like tier 1 and then tier 2 you got your Roquan.
Not counting quarterbacks, of course.
Yeah, not counting quarterbacks. I'm trying to think of other people in that draft. But we're on the same page there. It's Saquon and Nelson, and then
other
Roquan.
people. Yeah, but
them not having to take a quarterback that year opened up the door to take Roquan.
That's true. I just didn't like Trubisky coming out of college. I was like, he started 1 year. I actually went to one of his games against Illinois.
Really?
I went to the Illinois-North Carolina game, and I was like, he looks like a college quarterback. I wasn't like, this guy's a potential number 2 pick.
Yeah.
And then I just love Deshaun Watson.
I had injury issues with Watson,
which have come true.
And what I hated the most in the aftermath of that pick was, and like a lot of like the consensus, upside for Watson was like, oh, he's a winner.
Which is dumb because he went to Clemson. That's like saying in Alabama.
You put Trubisky on Alabama, and things change.
Then Trubisky's a winner now.
Yeah, Trubisky's a winner.
Going back to the Saquon draft, I was one of the believers Saquon should have went number 1 to Cleveland.
Yes.
I think Cleveland could have got Baker at 4. And if they didn't, getting Darnold or Rosen at 4, because Rosen was the top quarterback. The fact that Allen went before Rosen was surprising to most people.
I have a hard time seeing Baker at 4 because Baker, like I remember talking to my dad he picked me up from the school that day, and we were driving home, and we agreed that Baker Mayfield is like peak Jets. That is a Jets pick.
There was actually talks of New England trying to get up there and getting.
Wasn't that fairly recent news?
Yeah, it came out recently that New England was interested. I think they were gonna go 3 or not 3 because the Jets wouldn't do that, but 2 or 4 to get.
Where did they pick in that draft?
New England?
Yeah.
I don't even know if they had a first round, and if they did, it was obviously late.
Right.
But they're usually a second.
What did they get back from San Francisco in the Garoppolo trade?
Second.
Just a second? So obviously that would have been
because Cleveland offered him a first, but they did not want to keep Garoppolo in the same conference.
Yeah.
So they sent him to San Francisco for a second. Which, I mean, I would have sent him for a first. I mean, if you're thinking logically, like, Cleveland's not going to do anything with a quarterback. But obviously they did with Baker. But
yeah, things are changing now.
That was because they got rid of Hugh Jackson.
Yeah.
Who, Tyrod Taylor deserves some more credit here. He's getting hated on because he didn't win a game in Cleveland. But let's not forget, Baker won most of his games, besides the Jets one, when Hugh left.
Yeah.
Like, someone cut Tyrod some slack. He's been getting hated on for a while.
Tyrod's on the Chargers now, right?
He is. He's the backup for the Chargers.
That's a big sign for the Chargers.
Yeah,
I like
he
that
does
a lot.
not play anything like Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
So their offense will be drastically different if anything does happen.
You're able to dumb it down, and you can just kind of let Tyrod make some plays, because I think that Tyrod has some playmaking ability still.
He was obviously solid enough to get the Bills into the playoff.
I remember him back on the Ravens.
Yes.
Long time. I think he came in a playoff game a few times against the Steelers. I want to say, maybe I'm thinking of a different game, but I want to say that was a game where the Steelers used both of their challenges in the second quarter, and Tyrod came in a few times in that game and made some plays and kind of put his name on the map, and then the Bills signed him, and nobody thought he would ever start a game for the Bills.
No, he was just like a depth sign.
He was just a guy, and then he won that job
over E.J. Manuel.
E.J. Manuel?
Who was
Fitzpatrick still around then?
He probably was. Fitzpatrick is everywhere.
Yeah.
You do not want Ryan Fitzpatrick to be your backup quarterback. You will get hurt.
Your starting quarterback.
Your starting quarterback will get hurt.
Yeah.
Or he'll just start playing bad. Every time he's a backup, he becomes a starter for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And he'll do great, and then he's like, okay, yeah, I'm a backup.
He's like, yeah, I'm done now.
It's just, last year Tampa was just a mess.
Yeah, I think Tampa's going to be the worst team in the league this year.
Really, I think they're going to have a good offense, but their defense is going to hold them back.
I like their receivers.
I love their receivers.
I hate the running backs.
I don't know what to do with them. In fantasy,
I want nothing to do with any.
I will sign one like maybe week 2, just to see what they do in week 1. But I'm not drafting one.
Yeah, I'm not drafting.
I'm waiver wiring those guys.
Yeah.
Super high on Mike Evans. I love Mike Evans.
I like Godwin a lot.
Mike Evans has produced every single year in the league. He's so talented.
I had him in fantasy like the year that he broke out, and I picked him. I forget where I picked him. I think I picked him like late second round, and I got like first round value out of him.
This year he's going early third, late second. I love that value.
Yeah,
he can be your wide receiver 1.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
He's Tampa sucks. They're gonna be in shootouts.
But he's gonna do his thing.
They're going to be like last year. I mean, Winston was a solid starting quarterback last year in fantasy. Not in real life, but in fantasy. He was solid. Whoever Tampa's starter was, you could start them and you wouldn't be sad with the results.
Yeah.
I think except when Fitzpatrick threw like 5 picks or something.
I don't remember exactly, but I think I picked up Fitzpatrick and then traded him away so I could upgrade a running back.
I think, I remember someone in my league started Fitzpatrick. And that was the game where Fitzpatrick threw like 3 or 4 picks.
Was it Nolan?
It was Nolan.
It was Nolan, yeah.
And then Fitzpatrick threw 3 or 4 picks, and they benched him. And then so he lost that week because he started Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
Just because Fitzpatrick.
I remember trying to convince them. I was like, it's not going to last. It's not going to last.
Everyone.
And he had Deshaun Watson, too. He sat Deshaun Watson for Ryan
Fitzpatrick. But let's actually get into fantasy sleepers.
Whoa, we're going right in it? Actually, I haven't... Speaking of Deshaun Watson, I'm picking Deshaun Watson to MVP.
Oh yeah,
that's a bold prediction.
I want to.
Actually, I'm not like picking him because that's if you're just all things considered. But if you want me to, for a bold prediction, I'm going to take Deshaun Watson to win MVP.
My shock MVP. I mean, I can't even really say.
Can I guess? Saquon.
It would have been.
Yeah.
But I was gonna just say that's not a shock. Because obviously he's going to get every single touch possible.
Yeah.
But I can see there being a quarterback in the NFC.
In the NFC?
That makes his mark and gets some MVP votes.
Hold on. Let me think a little bit. Probably not Wentz. Or is it Wentz? No, not Wentz.
No, I mean, I love Wentz, but that's not really a bold one. Everyone likes him to some extent.
Are you about to make the Trubisky?
I'm not making the bet just because his odds are good. It's not even really a shocker. It's just no one's picking him.
Aaron Rodgers?
It's Russell Wilson.
No
one has picked
him last year.
Russell Wilson to be an MVP candidate, and I guess they limited his running a little bit last year, so like people are not as high on him.
I had him in fantasy last year. He struggled a little bit.
He's still a top 5 quarterback.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, easily.
He's so talented.
Yeah.
For being a 3rd or 4th round pick, I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
I think he can be an MVP. I think Seattle wins that division. If he puts up solid enough numbers.
Ooh, okay.
Seattle wins
picking Seattle to win the
Seattle
West?
wins the West.
Seattle wins the West. If you maybe choose right now, I have a hard time seeing Seattle make the playoffs.
Really?
We'll come back to that later, actually.
Okay.
Do you want to do fantasy bold predictions?
I'm down for some fantasy bold predictions.
I want to go first.
Okay.
I'm going to say Kyler Murray is a top 4 quarterback.
Top 4 quarterback. You think because of his running ability, or do you think because of both?
Yes, but I think the deep pass.
He has a solid arm.
I think Kirk is going to be. I wouldn't call Kirk a sleeper because he is.
He's like 8th round, 9th round pick.
I would say I think he's like 7th at this point.
Really?
I like Kirk a lot in fantasy. I like J.D. Nelson. Actually, no, he's not there anymore. He's in Baltimore. Who's their deep threat? I thought there was a guy.
Kirk. Andy Isabella. They drafted him.
Yes.
Solid, speedy guy.
I think Kyler just needs deep threats, and he's going to do everything.
And then they got the red zone threat, Hakeem Butler and Fitz.
I love David Johnson on that team. I think David Johnson is going to do a lot for them. I think he's going to be great catching the ball out of the backfield. I think he's gonna get a ton of touches. I think David Johnson, as far as value goes in the first round, is probably the best value in the first round that you can get.
Considering he's going around like 8,
if you 9. Can get, I've seen him more like closer to like 5 to 7 range.
But like some people are overvaluing Devontae Adams.
I think
now that Aaron Rodgers is back, a lot of people are very high on Devontae Adams. I'm not one of those people.
Yeah,
I would say he's like my fourth pick at wide receiver. I like Hopkins better. I like Julio better.
I like Hopkins.
And I like Juju better.
You like Juju better?
Juju's gonna
I
be
disagree.
great.
I'm not on the Juju train.
You're not on the Juju.
I'm not on the Juju train.
You think because he was... Yeah. You think you... Are you saying that Juju's success came because of Antonio Brown and the focus was more on Brown?
I think that a lot of the hype around Juju stems from his personality and his status as like...
He is a very fun guy.
Yeah, and that's great. But I think that shouldn't make you overvalue him as a wide receiver.
I think he's really... Whoever wide receiver 2 comes out to be in Pittsburgh,
yeah,
I'm high on. If that's Washington, if it's Moncrief...
I don't like Moncrief at all.
You don't like him? You don't think he'd be number 2?
He's never really... He was okay in Indianapolis and has got some contracts, and he went to Jacksonville.
He was meh.
And I don't see him doing a whole lot.
I like James Washington a lot. From Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
He was solid there. I think he can be solid if he plays a role similar to how Juju played last year. I like Vance McDonald a lot as a tight end.
I do too.
A lot of targets are open.
Yeah.
Now that Gall's gone.
And as far as like red zone
Brown.
threats, he's pretty much all they have.
I mean, yeah.
Juju's kind of bigger, but he's
like
more of a slot
He's
guy.
a 6'2". He's solid.
I don't think
he's not.
I don't think he's even 6'2".
He might be. He's listed at 6'2". He's probably 6'1".
Yeah.
I'd lie to.
Yeah.
But no, I like Vance McDonald. I'm not high on tight ends. Picking him.
I
like that high.
I'm just gonna a lot of my draft strategy this year is I want to get one of those top
you're
three
one of
tight
the
ends.
I want an Ertz, I want a Kelsey, I
think
Kittle.
Kelsey is going a little bit too high.
He's going first round.
Yeah.
For most teams.
I think first round is way too high. But I also think that since tight end is so hard to find consistent value there.
Yeah. Last year was either one of those three or you're just hoping someone catches a touchdown.
Right.
I mean, I had Trey Burton last year. I was very high on him because he was great that 1 week in Philly when Ertz went down. Yeah. He was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I actually had him. And there was a game where I needed 5 points. Just 5 points in a PPR league for Trey Burton.
Let me guess, that was a Lions game?
It was a Seattle game.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I needed
so
8 points.
2.
I needed 8 points.
Yeah.
He ran for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And he had 1 catch for 2 yards. I lost by 0.8 because he only got 1 catch for 2 yards.
And if he catches that touchdown, then...
If he caught the touchdown, I win.
Yeah.
But no, he ran it in.
Yeah.
Who runs in a touchdown with the
It's Trey Burton, though.
He's athletic.
And Matt Nagy's offense?
But no, ever since then, I've not liked Trey Burton.
Yeah.
Because he lost me that game. I was undefeated at that point. But granted, it was 2-0, but still. That was one of my only losses. No, he hasn't.
He was on the field on Monday, but he wasn't in pads. He wasn't doing anything.
Yeah. I'm really... Delaney Walker as a tight end.
High? Low?
I'm high on him.
You're high?
He's going very late.
Yeah.
Who's Tennessee's options? I mean, they have Henry, they have Lewis, and they have Corey Davis.
Who do they draft? What's his name? Brown?
They got a Brown, too?
A.J. Brown? A.J. Brown?
I think
so.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
But Delaney Walker was a great tight end when he played. But he didn't play last year, so people are forgetting about him. Recency bias is a thing.
I think that...
He's old, though.
He's old, and he's going to fall off the cliff eventually.
You think this is a year?
And I don't want to bank on a tight end like that.
I'm picking him 13, 14.
Yeah.
The tight end for me, I'm going to the end of the draft without a tight end, and then I'm seeing Kyle Rudolph's there, Delaney
I hate
Walker's.
Kyle Rudolph.
You're not a fan?
A lot.
Because of Irv Smith?
I just
or because of Kirk Cousins?
I think it's just because of Kyle Rudolph. I don't think he's as good as people.
He got paid.
Yeah.
He better get touches like he's getting paid.
Yeah.
I'm okay with him. I mean, tight end is just unless you have Kelsey or Kittle, it's not going to kill
He's not a starter. But at tight end, I need my backup to have a ton of upside.
Yeah, I'm very high ceiling with my backups.
Yeah.
I want low floor for my starters, high ceiling for my backups.
Or high floor for your starters.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Mike Williams, I'm high on.
I like him.
He's not really a sleeper because he's going pretty high, but I liked him a lot last year, and he struggled at the beginning of the year, but he started to find his way near the end.
Right.
He's a touchdown machine.
Mm-hmm.
He's fast and he's tall. So right. I really like him. I hate playing the injury game, but I can see Keenan Allen going down again. He likes to do that. And if he does, I think Mike Williams is a solid wide receiver 2, maybe even a wide receiver 1 if Keenan goes down.
Maybe. I can see it.
But if you have him at your flex, if you have Mike Williams at your flex, you're
solid.
You're solid.
Yeah. I want to hear. Okay. Fantasy bold prediction. I want to hear yours.
My number 1 bold prediction. Well, no, I can't because I was gonna say something about Ezekiel Elliott, but he's actually not. We don't know if he's gonna play or not.
Yeah.
Same thing with Melvin Gordon. So I'm gonna say if Melvin Gordon does not sign and he gets traded, Austin Eckler will be a top 5 running back this season. I don't know if that's bold enough because he has been great when he does play, but I can see him easily being top 5. He's good. He has had value when Gordon does play.
My only issue with that is Justin Jackson.
I don't know what to do with those two. One of those two will take over. I think it's Eckler right now.
I think it's Eckler right now, but down the road,
if late season, it could be Jackson.
Yeah.
So let me change that. Whoever is the starting running back for the LA Chargers will be a top 5 running back.
But that's assuming that they have a starter.
But it's similar to
because Eckler and Jackson are like the same guy.
It's similar to when Yeldon took over for Fournette. Whoever's starting for that team, they're gonna have a top 5 year.
Yeah.
What's yours?
I drafted McCaffrey in the 2nd round last year.
Yes, you were a McCaffrey lover.
Yes. Actually, going into that draft, I wasn't super big on McCaffrey.
Really? But after you picked him,
I saw the value at the end of the 2nd round, and I made that move, and it obviously paid off. I am going to predict that Aaron Jones has a McCaffrey-esque season.
People have been on the Aaron Jones trade for 2 years. I can see it.
No more McCarthy.
No, I don't. Jamal Williams was garbage.
Jamal Williams is a blocker and nothing else.
That's the only thing that he's on the field for. I mean, that's the only thing you can say against Aaron Jones.
He can run for a little bit of power. I guess he is a little bit of that thunder to Aaron Jones' lightning.
Yeah, I think
it's kind of a bold comparison to make, but I think Aaron Jones has some like Jamal Charles abilities.
I could see it. I don't see as much receiving, obviously, because Jamal Charles is one of the best pass catcher running backs. Considering
but Aaron Jones can catch the ball, though.
He can, but I don't see him like doing a 4 touchdown.
Especially when that Packers team. I mean, there's Devontae Adams.
And then,
who's the second receiver?
I can't tell you.
Allison, MVF.
I guess Geronimo.
St. Brown.
Geronimo.
My guess would be Geronimo right now, but they're all just kind of
Equinemius. They love to get the weird
they're
first
just
names.
Guys.
Equinemius.
Yeah, the guy from Notre Dame.
Geronimo.
And Jimmy Graham. I like Jimmy Graham's value in like the 12th round.
Yeah, I'll pick him if he's late. Like I said about tight ends, if I don't get one of the top 3, I'm not picking one.
Right.
Till the end.
Yeah.
I'd rather pick my defense before I pick a tight end.
Really?
Yeah. I'll take Denver's defense.
I'm not high unless my draft is just going fantastic. I'm a believer in waiting to pick a defense until like the second to last round.
I'm fine with that too. I mean, I don't
just hopping around defenses. And
I usually do that. I usually like when the Browns were terrible. I would be like, who's playing the Browns this week? All right, that's my defense. This year, I'm probably going to do it with Miami.
I remember
whoever's playing Miami, I want that defense.
Right before Peterman's first game.
Oh my God.
What was it, like 6 interceptions?
I think it was 5 in the first half.
And then
they benched him for Tyrod.
And then I think they got 2 more after that.
They might have.
I think they had 7 interceptions that game.
Oh my God.
They scored me like 35 points.
That was a week. Yeah. The Bears defense will not be nearly as good as people are drafting them to be. They're going drafted in the 7th and 8th round.
Okay, that's much, but
that's their 80. That's their like average.
If my draft is going great, I don't mind taking them in like the 10th round.
I'm never gonna take a defense higher than 13.
I think I have a hard time predicting them to repeat
because they had so many touchdowns.
Yeah,
that's the hard thing.
But at the same time, Pagano's system, they're going to be so much more aggressive. I think they're going to be much less of a bend don't break defense. Which they didn't even bend that much.
No, last year they did not.
I think they'll bend a little more, but I think they'll make just as many plays.
Yeah. So we've already talked about Josh Allen. I'm really high on him. He's a sleeper. He's not getting drafted. Undrafted in most leagues.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, right now, you're going to want to pick him up after week 1. I have him rostered in most leagues just in case.
I like drafting him. I've been drafting
him like 13th round just to be safe. I don't want to risk not getting him.
Yeah.
Kyler's going high in a lot of drafts because of his running ability, so you can't call.
I like predicting Kyler to be like a top 4 quarterback, but I don't like taking him because some people might agree with me, and they're like
they're going to overdraft him.
He's overdrafting. You might get picked in like the 6th round, but if I can get a guy like that in like 8 or 9, then I'm in business.
I'm also a guy who waits on quarterbacks. Quarterbacks and tight ends,
I like to wait on quarterbacks, but in Kyler's case, I'm just like. I want in on it.
I've been able to get like Wentz and Wilson and like
my
9
dream
and 10.
quarterback scenario is get like Kyler in like 7, and then Rivers in like 10.
So you have Rivers as your like I know what he's gonna do, and I have Kyler as a let's see what happens. I wanted to do that last year.
And then honestly, the way Josh Allen is, I do not mind rostering a 3rd quarterback for Josh Allen.
True. Last year I had Drew Brees, and I was planning on picking Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
As a Chiefs fan, I was like, I want to see what this guy can do. Yeah. I was gonna pick him. He got snagged from me because I waited too long. I was like, I can get more value.
Yeah.
I waited too long. I ended up having to trade for him at the end of the season because Breeze wanted to beat garbage.
Yeah.
That's what killed his MVP race, by the way. Was those weeks when he didn't, when he went like
when
he went under 200 yards. I don't think an MVP quarterback should ever have an under 200 yard game.
I agree.
But yeah, I had to trade for Mahomes just to win my season, even though I had a godly team.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Drew Brees was great for me. I wanted Mahomes and Drew Brees, which would have been the greatest quarterback duo in fantasy history.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even going to be hyped that way. It was like an average one at that point. But yeah, I'm always down to have like a solid vet quarterback, and then you pick a young guy that you think can do big things. So if you,
I think, out of like, you know, it's not like I've been playing fantasy for a long time. I guess in comparison to my life, I have. I mean, I've probably been playing fantasy for like 5 years now, but I don't think I've ever seen a quarterback that I would willingly roster as a 3rd quarterback other than Josh Allen.
I never like having 3 quarterbacks. I barely like having 2.
Yeah,
because there's not like most of them do the same stuff.
And you can, especially with how deep quarterback this is this year, I could see a guy even like Stafford being on the market.
Oh yeah, easily.
Or like Trubisky's last year before he got hurt, I picked up Alex Smith. Yeah. For a couple games, and he was
when Alex Smith was on Kansas City. He was.
Oh yeah.
But he was in the free agency all the time, and he was still putting up great numbers because of how deep quarterback is.
Right.
And people have their stigmatism like, oh, Alex Smith doesn't throw the ball more than 10 yards. He can't do anything.
Right.
But he had so many playmakers that
he didn't need to do much.
No, he could dump it off every play. And
yeah.
I'll never forget the year where Alex Smith did not throw a touchdown to a wide receiver in Kansas City.
Yeah.
It was only Jamal Charles and Travis Kelce, basically.
Wow. Who was on that team? Dwayne Bowe?
Dwayne Bowe, that was it. They didn't have many wide receivers at all.
I'm trying to think. Who was the guy from the Eagles?
Jeremy Maclin? I don't think he was on that team.
He wasn't on that team? I know he was on the Chiefs.
He was on it, and he was awful. He was a bust of a signing or a trade or whatever they got him.
Who else was there, though? Because that was the year before Dwayne Bowe went to Cleveland, right?
Yeah. Bowe was supposed to be our savior at wide receiver. Yeah. Obviously, he wasn't. He's actually a rapper now.
Really?
He's a rapper.
That's intriguing.
He is a rapper. I've listened to some songs. They are very SoundCloudy. Nothing special, but they're average. Player I really like at running back, Ito Smith from the Falcons. I agree. I can see him having a Tevin Coleman role, and I can also hate, like we said before.
I think he'd have a slightly different than a Tevin Coleman role in that I think he's a better receiver. I don't think he's necessarily as good of a running back, but I think he's better at catching the ball out of the backfield, and I think with the Freeman situation,
which you don't know,
I'm not super high on Freeman. In like, what's his price right now? Like 2nd round.
He's high. He's like going where Mixon's going. Which shouldn't happen.
With Freeman's injury history, I'm a fan of Ito Smith. Ito Smith is what, like 9th, 10th round right now? He's
going 10th, 11th. Another player I really like was the backup for Minnesota, Alexander Madison.
I've heard that name. I haven't done a whole lot of research.
Dalvin Cook never plays a full season so far.
Yeah.
He's talented.
He's been in the league for like 3 years.
Yeah, but I mean, look what Latavius did. Look what Jerick McKinnon did. I think if Dalvin goes down, Alexander Madison will be a great top 10 running back in fantasy. You need those kind of players. Like, you needed Yeldon last year. You needed players like that. You don't get your every week starters because running backs get hurt.
Right.
Like for 1 week, and then you pick up their backup, and you hope they do well. Mm-hmm. Those are two of my guys that I can see. You roster them, especially if you have Cook or Freeman.
Right.
Especially roster those guys. They're definitely big handcuffs. I know you love this guy. Darrell Henderson is a must roster in every league.
The best handcuff
in football. By far. He's supposed to have
Actually,
a Chris Thompson
I disagree.
role.
Not by far. Kareem Hunt is the best handcuff.
Oh, my God, yes. But
actually, Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb.
They're like
tandem are the best handcuffs.
Yeah, they're for the first, 8 games or 6 games, whatever.
I think it's 8.
Nick Chubb's going to be great.
Do you want to fully transition to fantasy sleepers and busts?
We're fully into fantasy now. Bust. Big bust for me. Even is it a bust if everyone knows it? I mean, Todd Gurley's not going to be good.
Yeah.
He's not going to be Todd Gurley won you your fantasy league.
I'm not drafting him, period.
I'm not at all. I mean, he's not going to fall to me in the 7th round, and that's where I'd take him.
Yeah, I'd take him maybe 8 or 9, but that's not going to happen. So
no, I'd take him if I also had Darrell Henderson.
Yeah.
Now, this is a guy you don't like, but I do like. Chris Carson.
Wow, I have him on my bust list.
I like Chris Carson if you get Rashawn Petty with him. You have
but then you're wasting roster
you're
spots
not,
on what ifs.
Because Seattle runs the ball so much.
Pro Size is around. Pro Size played really well when he was healthy.
But Carson played even better when he was healthy. And Penny was a first-round pick. You got to play the first-round picks. I think
there's too many what ifs.
That's like Carson. Carson's going 8th round.
No,
really, he's going late for me in all my drafts that I've been doing. Penny's going a little higher than I thought he was.
9 or 10, but I'm not a fan of him.
Not a fan at all. I like Penny. If Carson gets hurt, you want Penny.
Yeah.
If one of those two goes down, you want the other one because then it's just their team,
right?
And they're gonna be good.
My deepest sleeper.
Your deepest sleeper, like almost undrafted kind of sleeper. Or?
I think completely undrafted.
Really,
Duke Johnson.
You're a Duke Johnson guy.
Obviously this is banking on where he goes.
Because I think that's the preface.
Because he's not going to play for Cleveland.
They have too many running backs,
and he wants out. He doesn't like them anymore.
No,
dream scenario. Tampa.
If he goes to Tampa,
I
love him in Tampa.
Yeah,
he fits perfectly.
I like him in Detroit too.
I don't want him in
the Riddick
Detroit,
role.
Though.
I like Tampa way better.
I don't want him in Detroit because I love Carry-On. And I don't want things to be taken away from Carry-On. He's a great running back.
I like Duke even in New England.
Oh, but there's too many running backs.
There's too many.
He's the same as James White.
Yeah, I agree with that.
James White's got that role cut out for him.
But
he's a wide receiver.
In the event that something happens to James White,
whew,
Duke Johnson is #1 target on the Patriots list.
This isn't really a sleeper because where he's going 6th, 7th round. DJ Moore. I love DJ Moore. I think he has solid wide receiver 2 value.
I agree with DJ Moore. I don't like him. Cam factor. I don't like.
I can understand, but Carolina's got to get the ball to somebody. Same thing with the Giants.
I actually kind of like Curtis Samuel at his super late value.
He's talented. He's very talented.
Yeah,
out of Ohio State.
He can be that Cordero Patterson role for you.
He can have a similar role, but I like DJ Moore. He was good last year.
Yeah.
And he's the #1 guy by far. Funches is gone.
Yeah.
Benjamin's been gone.
Yeah.
It's DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey. If you draft any other Panther player, maybe take a flyer on Samuel, you're gonna fail.
Struggle. Yeah.
I mean, maybe Olsen because he's going very late.
Is he gonna start? Is he healthy yet though?
He's borderline. I don't like Olsen.
And I think he's got to fall off the cliff at some point.
Yeah. Same with Delaney Walker, but I like Delaney Walker. I think Olsen's okay for a week or two. I don't think you can have him as your every week starter.
He used to be great.
I miss Olsen.
Yeah,
he could have been
a Bears jersey.
Yeah, you do. He used to be a part of the big 3 tight ends. It wasn't Kittle. It was Olsen. It was Olsen, Ertz.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Gronk was there, so it was Gronk, Kelsey, Ertz, Olsen, those 4.
Yeah. I would even say before Ertz, Olsen was around.
Yeah, Ertz is kind of a newer name to candidacy. Yeah. Kelsey's been the longest since Gronk is gone. It's been Kelsey and Gronk.
Yeah.
Who else do I really like? I had him on my list.
I got a bust for you.
You got a bust. Give me a bust.
I got a bust. Derrick Henry.
I agree. 100% people are overvaluing
With
Derrick
the Deion
Henry.
Lewis factor, and I don't like Mariota.
Mariota is not that
He's
good of a
not
quarterback.
a good quarterback.
He won that playoff game off of luck, purely. He caught his own
Of course
touchdown
you bring
pass.
a playoff game.
I mean, that's why people talk about him, because
Right.
he won a playoff game. A lot of quarterbacks haven't. Like
I
Kirk
don't
Cousins.
like Tennessee as a whole.
They're just
so
I like Vrabel.
boring.
I like the coach.
Vrabel. They're just so boring. They have no
They're not
star
fun
power.
to watch. Not at all. I mean, Corey Davis is an all right wide receiver.
I think he'd be better, but there's
if he
just
had a better
no
quarterback,
star
I'd love
power.
I'd love Corey Davis if he had
And-
a better quarterback.
Mariota's supposed to be their star power, but he isn't.
No, he's not lived up to that.
Yeah.
Him or Winston, not lived up to that.
Yeah, I mean, if you made me
1-2.
choose today, I'm probably taking Winston.
I would. He's more of a quarterback.
Yeah,
Mariota's a better runner,
yeah,
but Winston can throw the ball.
yeah.
My Derrick Henry was one of my busts. I think he's getting drafted too high.
agree.
People are overvaluing his amazing game against Jacksonville or whoever
Yeah,
it was. again.
After Jacksonville happened, everybody seems to think that Derrick Henry is a top running back now.
No, he had
Never.
the
Remember
two
when he
games-
was supposed to be like a top 10 running back, and then DeMarco Murray took all his carries?
Yeah, DeMarco Murray, and then old DeMarco Murray took all of his carries.
Yeah.
Like, it was ridiculous. People are drafting Josh Jacobs a little high.
I like Jacobs.
I like him, but
I'm
not
not
at his value.
super high on
I
Jacobs,
don't like
but
him
I
at
like
his
him.
value. His value's a little high for me.
What is he right now? Third round?
Third, fourth round, yeah.
Third, fourth round.
Like, you need to...
I'm fine with him in the fourth round.
I'm more of a fifth round guy for him. Fifth, sixth.
Every day the Raiders seem to be more and more of a train wreck.
Yeah, you
So
don't
that
know what the
lowers
Raiders...
Jacobs' value.
I think, James Conner's getting... Like, he's obviously not a sleeper, but he's getting slept on a little bit.
I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Really, because he's
For
getting
James Conner.
drafted after Devontae Freeman in most drafts.
Really?
In
I
most
was not
drafts.
aware.
I'm looking at, like, for the rankings for... a lot of people have Freeman above Connor, which doesn't make any sense.
Which I don't agree with at all.
Because Connor was so great last season.
My only issue with Connor is that he's just not a playmaker.
He's no Le'Veon, but he's getting
But
all of
he's
Le'Veon's touches.
getting all the touches. I think he's enough of a playmaker to make it work, but I don't think that he is talented enough to be a top guy consistently.
Yeah. One player I don't like at all at the running back position, Kenyon Drake. I don't like Kenyon. I think
I like him late.
that's with a lot of players though. We like him late.
I think
but
the Balaj hype train is a little bit much right now.
he is a little overhyped. I will give you that. But some of that hype is granted. I'm not a fan of Drake. I mean, he had a little. I mean, yes, Frank Gore was taking touches away from him. How is Frank Gore still in the league? First of all,
Yeah.
he's so old. But Drake
Could you
was
imagine
supposed to be good.
Frank
without-
Gore and LaShawn McCoy are on the same team right now?
They are.
Imagine if this was like 10 years ago.
If this was San Francisco Frank Gore and Eagles LaShawn McCoy, that'd be one of the
Like,
best running back duos of all time.
Remember when LaShawn McCoy was consensus number 1 in every single fantasy
Yeah,
draft?
I
everywhere?
remember when he was like 2 years ago. Wasn't he a top 5 running back pick?
I wouldn't say 2 years ago.
It wasn't too long ago.
Fairly recently.
He was
though.
in Buffalo and he was still getting drafted top 7 pick.
Yeah.
But and then he was terrible. He
Yeah.
was terrible. I don't see LaShawn. LaShawn's not getting rated at all because he doesn't deserve to be. I still love Lindsey out of Denver.
I like Lindsey too.
I want you to get Freeman if you get Lindsey.
Yep.
Freeman's going late. Nothing to hurt.
Completely agree.
Freeman's talented. He was supposed to be the guy.
Freeman was like everybody's like guy.
Matthew
last
Berry predicted that Freeman would lead the league in rushing.
Yeah.
He said the rookie running back streak would continue. He was wrong, but Lindsey did great.
Yeah.
I love Lindsey. He's a great catcher. People's thing is like he struggled a little bit at the late year.
But another year in the league, you got to remember he's an undrafted guy.
He's got that fire in him.
Yeah.
He's not going to
He's
stop.
elusive. He's, he shows those. Trying to think of a good comparison for him. I could even compare him to like LaShawn McCoy.
working. Similar.
I mean, he's not he's not shifty,
No, he's not nearly as shit.
but
no.
he's like, he shows those tendencies. He's that type of player. I have a sleeper at receiver for you.
You have a sleeper. I have a bust.
I have a
So you go
sleeper at
first.
receiver. DK Metcalf.
Oh my god. Yeah, he's not getting drafted. He's not.
But
and if he is, it's the fifth.
The way that offense is, and if Tyler Lockett is so valuable, why not Metcalf?
I can see that. I can see why not.
No Doug Baldwin.
No.
Metcalf, all he has to do,
run
slants, streaks.
He can definitely not run any complicated routes.
Yeah, but that's... I saw a stat not too long ago about Calvin Johnson.
Really?
And the vast majority, I'm talking like 95%, I believe. I may be wrong on this, but like I know for a fact it's the vast majority of the routes he ran were like slants / in routes and streaks. That's it.
Yeah.
And DK Metcalf is that Calvin Johnson type of player. And look at how effective Calvin Johnson was.
True. This is going to be surprising for me to say.
For a bust?
As a bust at wide receiver. I don't
Watkins,
think
Hill?
I don't think Tyreek Hill deserves to be drafted where he's being drafted.
Where is he right now?
Early second.
Early second?
Mid to early second. I saw one guy accidentally, he said, pick DeAndre Hopkins over Tyreek Hill. And that's
you mean Tyreek Hill over DeAndre Hopkins?
No, he accidentally took DeAndre Hopkins and he wanted Tyreek Hill.
Oh.
Yeah. He was mad that he took DeAndre Hopkins instead of Tyreek Hill. Now, I'm a Chiefs fan. I love Tyreek Hill.
But
I don't want to talk about his off-the-field
He's not the complete receiver that you want.
I mean, he got shut down against New England.
Yeah.
In the playoffs. In the regular season, he was great. But in the
good
playoffs,
enough defense, you can.
I really think if you just put
can
a safety
scheme
over
out
it. They
Tyreek
did.
Hill.
They did. Watkins was the wide receiver against New England.
Yeah.
Not Tyreek. Tyreek had one catch, I think.
Something like that.
It was like 20 yards.
Yeah.
It was Watkins. He had like 5 catches. But I'm not mad at if you pick Watkins. I think he has more value this year. He didn't play that much last year, which is always the Sammy Watkins problem. But when he did, he was valuable.
Yeah.
He was getting his touchdown. Don't pick Mahomes in the 3rd round, guys. Don't.
Nope. Completely agree.
Love him. One quarterback, has ever thrown for 40 touchdowns twice. It was Drew Brees. Only 3 quarterbacks have ever thrown 40 touchdowns twice. And then the other 2 are Rodgers and Marino. And 4. Manning did it too.
Yeah.
Brady hasn't done it.
My thing with Mahomes is I honestly think that Mahomes will get better as a quarterback. I think his
Yes,
tape will get better.
He will.
But his stats will regress to the mean, and that is what is so important for fantasy football. When guys have those crazy years, they will regress to the mean. Because you just don't do that again.
Look at Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
He's regressed in fantasy, but we all know
He's still Russell Wilson.
Mahomes will get better as a quarterback. He's gonna be the future.
But he's not gonna put up
He's
50
not.
touchdowns.
You don't.
and all those yards
He's
every
not
year.
gonna be 5,050 every year.
Yeah.
No, this year I can see him running for a few more yards this year than he did. A few more touchdowns.
Maybe
There were some
I have a hard
times
time predicting that though.
No, yeah, you can't predict rushing with quarterbacks unless they're like Kyler Murray or Josh Allen, people who do
Trubisky.
it. Trubisky, yes, he was a great runner too, and Lamar Jackson because that's all he does.
Yeah.
But there were times last year where Mahomes had like a first down opportunity if he just tucked it and ran, but he forced something deep. I can see Reed like pulling him in the film room, being like, "Hey, let's get a little bit more legs in here."
Yeah.
I can see realistically 4,030 touchdowns.
I don't like projecting stats like that just because there's so much you can.
There's so many variables like
Yeah.
his options and who they play, but I definitely don't see him repeat.
Oh yeah, he doesn't repeat.
No one does.
Yeah,
no one
it's
has ever
just-
done.
that just
Peyton
doesn't
Manning
happen.
had the greatest season of football quarterback has ever had. The next year he got benched.
Yeah.
People forget that.
Granted, there's the age factor.
There was the age factor for him. It's
But-
weird that the year he got benched, he won the Super Bowl, and the year he was amazing, they lost the Super Bowl.
I guess the most important thing in my perspective is guys will regress to the mean.
Look at Doug Martin.
Yes.
Forever ago, Doug Martin went on a stretch of games.
Where he could have been like the best running back in all of fantasy for a little bit.
I mean, he had a 45-point game
Yes.
like 2 times in a row, and he won people leagues.
Yeah.
And he was almost a waiver guy at one
Yeah.
point. I mean, look what happened.
Now he's
now
he's not even on a team.
He isn't.
I don't think.
I remember he was like a kind of a thing that people wanted in Oakland last year, and he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just it's gonna happen. He's still gonna be a great quarterback to watch in real football and fantasy football. He'll be a top 5 quarterback, but I don't want you to take him above
Agreed.
solid skill position players because they produce more.
Exactly. I have a bust with an asterisk at running back. Nick Chubb.
Oh, is it because of Kareem Hunt?
Yes.
It's because of... Yeah, that makes sense. Kareem Hunt's going
Once Kareem Hunt is around, both those running backs are worth nothing in fantasy.
No, because they're both so good.
Yeah.
So good. They're
like we said earlier, they're in tandem the best handcuff that you can possibly have.
If you have them both,
You're set.
you're set. I agree. I'm not picking Nick Chubb a lot. I don't think I have once.
I'm not putting a second-round pick into Nick Chubb, into a guy that after week 9...
I want you for my playoffs. I don't want a guy who I'm scared
it would be
won't
different.
play.
I would think about picking him, obviously, depending on what his price point was at. I would think about picking him if it was like... Obviously, this doesn't happen, but if, say, Hunt was suspended for the last 8 games, that's a completely different story.
Yeah, if you got to pick when you got suspended.
Because you don't get to... say you're winning your league with Nick Chubb through the first 8 games.
You're done after Kareem Hunt comes back.
And then you lose all that production, and it's all over.
If you guys pick Lamar Miller, don't expect anything. I can see Foreman taking that job from him.
Foreman got cut.
Foreman got cut. Did he actually? 'Cause
Yes.
I just read about him like 2 days ago. I thought he was.
Foreman got cut. The Texans said, quote, he needs to grow up a little bit.
I thought it was his brother that always had the problems, not him. I guess. Well, never mind.
Apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
No, but whoever is in, Lamar Miller's old.
Yeah, actually, a deep sleeper, Karan Higdon.
Yes.
Deep sleeper. But
you can pick him up like week 3. He's gonna be in the waivers.
Yeah.
He's not a guy that's getting even thought of by most people. I like him though.
I'm kind of getting to the end of my list here. I think the only guy we haven't discussed so far on my list is a bust at receiver, which maybe not a surprise. And I wouldn't say that he will necessarily bust.
Is it Adam Thielen?
It is.
I was considering him because of the stupid production he did last year.
And like we said with Mahomes, he will regress to the mean.
With Diggs taking his touches, with Cook being healthy.
Diggs is the more talented receiver.
Diggs is more talented.
And not to knock away Thielen. Thielen's a great receiver. But
fantastic.
With Diggs around, with the uncertainty of Cousins, we'll see what happens. Maybe Cook ends up playing a full year.
Maybe. If he does, forget what I said.
And with how bad that offensive line is.
Yeah, I don't like the Vikings.
Yeah, the Vikings as a whole. I mean, I'm okay with Cook. He's just like fine.
You got to get the handcuff with him though, because he's probably not going to play the whole season.
I agree.
I hate saying that because you never know, but when it
terrible
happens,
offensive line, and he has a history.
He has history. It's going to happen.
Yeah,
it's going to, and you're going to want his handcuff.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Miles Sanders and Jordan Howard in
From
Philly?
A fantasy perspective?
Fantasy, what do you think they're going to produce?
I like Miles Sanders more just because the ceiling is higher.
Because of catching.
Exactly.
Most of the talk we're doing is PPR based because that's better
what we
leagues.
do.
It's better.
I guess my Jordan Howard thing is I don't think he'll be very effective in Philly just because they run a similar system to what happened in Chicago.
I mean, they're both from the same. Nagy and Peters.
You can get that production elsewhere.
You can. I mean, as great as
I love Jordan Howard. Don't get me wrong. I love Jordan Howard.
Yeah.
He started the rebuild for the Bears, and it sucks that he couldn't be around for it, but
found out Foreman actually got signed by Indianapolis. Indianapolis picked him up, which does not help. Because I don't know what to do with Mack and Hines. Obviously, Mack is the carrier.
Though, you're not I'd kind of like that spot for him from a fantasy perspective.
If Mack goes down, Wilkes and Foreman...
But he's just being added to an already complicated situation, so there's not a whole lot that you didn't already know there.
Yeah, he's not complicating the situation.
Right.
He's just joining. I like Mack. I do. If he gets hurt, Hines' value is not going to increase.
There's just so many names there. And
Hines, Wilk, Mack, and now Foreman's there. Foreman's talented. That's why I did predict him to take Miller's role, but obviously he got cut.
Right.
Stay away from Washington on running backs. I don't think there's enough production around.
I think that
there's enough.
Definitely stay away from AP. Number one is stay
Yes.
away from AP.
You can get Geis as your flex, or
I
if you have like a three running back league, yeah.
Because say if something happens to AP,
Geis is going to be the guy.
Geis
will be the guy.
I think a year or two down the road, I think Geis will be.
Oh yeah, if you're in like a keeper league or like a dynasty,
Geis is valuable.
Geis is valuable in dynasties. I'm sad about the Philly situation because they have so many talented players.
Yeah.
Corey Clement's great. Sproles is still solid. He's still? He's still on the team.
They just re-signed him.
Yeah. Howard's talented. I love Sanders.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick them.
It seems like all these teams either have like one set guy or none. You know what I mean?
I mean,
it's like,
that, which I hate.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen
I would say
more in the future in fantasy,
exception to that rule is maybe even like Chicago, because
I like both of those
who
running
their
backs.
three guys are going to be,
and it's really two.
It's 2.5 because Mike Davis is just going to be get some carries here and there.
He'll get
take the load off.
Yeah, I like Montgomery a lot, and I like Cohen.
I'm not as high on Montgomery as other people are, just because of the Mike Davis factor.
I like Cohen more than Montgomery.
I agree,
but I still like Montgomery. I think Cohen should get some consideration to be like a running back wide receiver duo, like how Patterson was last year when they started lining him up at running back.
Yeah.
Because Cohen's in the slot a lot.
Yeah.
He runs a lot of routes.
Yeah.
And
when we were at training camp on Monday, they ran a play where Cohen was in the slot and Patterson was in the backfield.
Patterson's gonna be good for that offense in real life.
Like,
not in fantasy,
like
in real life.
I love that low key signing for the Bears.
I mean, I think they mainly did it because Patterson single-handedly beat the Bears when he was in New England. Yeah.
Oh, that
you got a kick.
That New England.
Yeah,
game?
didn't he get a punt return or a kick return touchdown?
Yeah,
and he got more than just that. He was killing Chicago.
Yeah, but that's the kind of guy that Nagy, he's gonna.
Nagy is such a good offensive coach.
Yeah,
which is weird for me to say.
Right.
As a Chiefs fan, because apparently reports are he took over play calling when they started going on their losing stretch. But you never know. Maybe someone was trying to put the blame on Nagy.
Maybe, there's... And I guess...
You can't believe
Andy
a lot
Reid
of reports.
is obviously Andy Reid, that guy is a legend. So you...
Probably the best coach in the league.
Obviously, it's not like every guy that comes from the same coaching tree is the exact same person.
No, but there's similarities.
You can assume there's like some... Obviously, there's going to be some differences with how guys like to do things. And maybe Nagy's way of doing things in Kansas City just didn't quite have the same effect.
Yeah. Something you can notice is that Andy Reid has probably the best coaching tree in football.
Oh, yeah.
Peterson, Nagy, Ron Rivera is from that. Harbaugh is from that. I mean, isn't McDermott?
I think so.
It's loaded.
Yeah.
Todd Bowles.
Yeah.
It was solid.
I thought Bowles was from the Arians line.
No. He's from
really?
He was mentioned in the Reid coaching tree, which is why I thought he was going to be the DC for Kansas City.
Yeah.
After he got fired. I thought it was a solid idea that he would be the DC, but he obviously went where he went, and it seemed like Kansas City was planning on getting who they got. They were drafting for a 4-3 for 2 years now.
Right.
So they knew that Sutton.
And I think it's the right move for them.
I think a 4-3 fits him perfect.
Yeah.
I think that's another factor that went into the trade for Frank Clark. They traded Frank Clark for basically D Ford. They downgraded in age and or like upgraded in age. I mean, like Frank Clark's younger. The contract is huge, I will say.
Yeah,
it's a little big for me, but
I just question the moving down around. If they went straight up Clark for Ford, great.
Like just second round for Ford or for Clark, and that was it.
Yeah.
The second round they got from San Francisco.
If they just swapped second round picks or even first round picks,
yeah,
you're breaking even,
basically. But the reasoning they're doing it is because this is what every team does when they have a good young quarterback, like how the Bears did when they got Mac. You're paying everyone before you have to pay the quarterback. That way you still have talent when you pay the quarterback. You don't want an Andy Dalton situation.
And then you're trying to develop that core, like what the Bears are doing right now.
Bears are doing a great job.
In 5 years,
who knows?
I can guarantee you the three guys, barring injury, freaky things, the three guys that are going to be left on that defense are going to be Jackson, Roquan, and Mac.
Yeah. Jackson's incredible.
Yeah.
Super Bowl prediction here.
Okay. You want to close off with Super Bowl predictions?
I wanna finish with some Super Bowl predictions. It's not really a shocker from me. You might give the same answer.
Can I make a guess at what you're gonna?
You're gonna guess this.
I think you're gonna say Chiefs.
As a bias fan, I am.
I think you're gonna say Chiefs, and I think you're gonna say. You're not saying Bears. Are you saying Bears? Whoa.
I'm saying the Chicago Bears will play the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. This isn't that surprising of a pick. Some people are thinking about it. A more common thing is the Eagles versus the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Either way, I see an assistant that used to a person who used to be under Andy Reid will be facing Andy Reid in the Super Bowl this year.
I agree with that.
Either Peterson or Nagy. The storylines will be great. That will probably be one of the better viewed Super Bowls.
You know what I would love to see? What might even be an even more viewed game? An Eagles-Bears
NFC
Conference
Championship. That would be a great game to watch.
Crazy.
That would be a
because then you've got the factor of what happened last year, the Jordan Howard factor, the Andy Reid factor.
Alshon played for both teams.
Yes.
Alshon actually said we're going to win the Super Bowl while he was on the Bears. Yeah, then he goes to Philly and wins the Super Bowl.
Alshon was my last bust.
Oh, really? Alshon? I don't like him.
I don't think many people do.
I think everyone, ever since he dropped the ball, to lose them the game against the Saints, they would have won, I think. If he catches that ball.
Maybe.
Who knows? Who knows? Like, who knows what would have happened in a lot of games if different things happen. Both conference championships. Who knows?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I can see Kansas City. I just think they got to beat New England. Finally.
I
think last year was
scary
the
is
last
I think
one.
New England got better.
That is scary to me. They did. Kansas City kind of stayed the same, but kind of got better at the same time.
Yeah, I think the scheme change will help them a lot. I think the defense got a lot better.
Yeah, it was impossible to get worse.
Yeah.
So that's why he got rid of everybody.
Yeah.
I agree with it. He got them out of the cap situation that Dorsey put them in, which is now Dorsey might be doing the same thing in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Here's actually a bold prediction. A little late. Cleveland's not going to be as good as everyone says. They're too young.
I agree to an extent.
I
believe they'll win that division.
You think they're going to beat the Steelers?
I don't think this. I'm pretty low on the Steelers in comparison to everybody else.
I think the Steelers.
I'm not on the Juju train. I think Roethlisberger is going to fall off the cliff eventually. Maybe not necessarily this year, but it's coming. I don't think Connor's the playmaker at running back that you used to have in Bill.
True.
I don't think that defense is what it used to be either.
No, I
like their defense.
They still miss Shazier.
Yeah.
Which I'm so sad for Shazier.
Yeah, that sucks.
But I think the Browns are a little too young. I kind of sound like Colin Cowherd here, but I don't like Freddie Kitchens as a head coach. He was just a running back coach.
To bring in anybody else.
I understand why they did it, but like I don't know if he can handle all the personalities in that locker room.
Yeah.
I mean, Odell and Jarvis
Can anybody though?
True. But Odell and Jarvis say they want to play together right now.
Yeah. We'll see how that is.
A lot of people... Dwight Howard and James Harden said they wanted to play together. How'd that work out? Dwight's gone.
Yeah.
Chris Paul and James Harden said they wanted to play together. There's a lot of James Harden references, but still.
Yeah.
But they say they want to play together because they did it at LSU. Well, it's college. It's different now in the league. You both want to prove your worth. You still want to get your incentives.
You're playing for contracts.
You get... If you make the Pro Bowl, you get more money.
Yeah.
You both want to make it, and I don't think
that they both can. And obviously, Landry's the odd man out because he's just not nearly as talented as Odell.
I like Njoku.
I like Njoku
because a lot of people are going to be focusing on Odell, Chubb, and Landry. Don't be surprised if Njoku does pretty well.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't like the Browns that much. I think they're 9-7.
So
either squeak into the playoffs or barely miss it for me.
I want a score prediction for your Super Bowl.
For my Bears-Chiefs Super Bowl. It's going to be a tough one because this is defense versus offense.
Yeah.
This was number one defense in my eyes against the number one offense last year.
Yeah.
You can't say it's going to be a low-scoring game, though. I can see a solid 31-27.
31-27.
Kansas City pulls it out.
I knew you'd do that.
Yeah, I have to. You have to.
Yeah.
As so great as that defense is, I think Mac lines up on Schwartz's side of the ball.
I know, I doubt it. I doubt
You
it.
think they'd move Mac to the other side?
Well, he moves around so much anyway.
I know, but he's still on the right side of, if you're like watching from the quarterback perspective, he's on the right side.
Yeah.
And Schwartz is probably the best right tackle in football. Him or Lane Johnson. It's those
Balaga's up there.
Balaga, was he even playing last year?
I still think Balaga's pretty good.
But Schwartz is up there. But if they move Mac to the other side, Fisher will get dominated.
Yeah.
Fisher sucks.
Yeah.
Terrible first overall pick.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that draft class wasn't good anyway.
Remember Luke Jokel?
Yes, Eric Fisher is a cause of many stress for me. Yeah. Anytime I see a penalty, I assume it's Eric Fisher holding.
Always. Or D.
Or that hurt.
Yeah.
That D Ford. I'm glad he's gone.
On that note,
your Super Bowl.
My Super Bowl prediction. I got to put the Bears in it just because
they're contenders.
You do the same thing, so you can't.
They're contenders and they're your team.
I'm going to put the Bears in there. My thing with Kansas City is I don't know. I know they say it every year, but I think that the Chargers have the roster.
They do.
To where they got to win a game at some point.
Do you think Phillip Rivers finally gets over the Tom Brady hump? Or do you think that
I'm gonna predict a Chargers-Patriots conference championship, and I'm gonna say the Patriots win that conference championship.
Okay, so you're thinking
I'm gonna go Patriots-Bears Super Bowl.
Does Brady get his 7th ring and his second?
And I think that on the back of a clutch last drive by Trubisky.
A clutch last drive from Trubisky.
Yes, they do it. I think they do it.
Do they get the kicker to make it?
No.
They don't. They're going to score a touchdown?
I'm going to say they're down by 4.
So they have to score a touchdown. I remember watching that game, and I was like, Trubisky did it. He gave him. So since we're mentioning D Ford, I'm going to mention Cody Parkey. Yeah. I think that's fair. Both of our teams won, and then they didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who's their kicker? I can't tell you.
It's going to be Pinheiro or Fry.
I wish it would have been Pat McAfee.
I kind of agree, but
that's a star power name, and he would have been the first player ever to be a full-time punter and kicker. First time ever. He could have done it. But his knee, it happens. I think that would have done it for Chicago. If they had McAfee, I'd believe you 100% that they win that game-winning drive.
Maybe.
I don't know if Brady's getting a little overhyped.
He's
dumb as that is to
fall
say,
off the cliff eventually.
As dumb as that is to say that Brady's overhyped, because he's obviously the greatest quarterback of all time. If you watched him in the playoffs last year, he wasn't Brady.
Yeah.
His stats, I mean, he did throw 3 interceptions against Kansas City. It was 2 in the stats because of offsides.
Right.
He lost the Patriots the game. Who knows if he knew if it was offsides or not? I don't think he did. Because I was like the only person in the stadium who knew. Like everyone's celebrating around me, like we're going to the Super Bowl, and I'm just standing there in silence, like
pump the brakes.
D4 just lost this game. Yeah. But yeah, 1 touchdown, 3 picks against Kansas City.
Yeah.
The worst defense in football. You throw 3 picks. Mm-hmm. We're secondary.
And he does tend to. I'm saying he tends to not. I mean, you look at that Atlanta game.
Before half.
Yeah.
It was garbage.
I mean, I think his age is showing in some ways.
Yeah, if you look at the stats, he isn't a top 5 quarterback.
Oh,
just purely stats, but he's Tom Brady.
Right.
So he's top 5 quarterback.
Yeah.
I agree 100% that he should be. But, so I got Kansas City 31-27 over Chicago. You got...
I'm going to take Chicago. I'm going to take them...
It's a very built. I'm
struggling. I don't want to score that requires any field goals.
You don't. You want a straight touchdown game.
I'm gonna take 28 to. I'm gonna take 28 to 26.
28-26.
Yeah,
I can. I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
I can't see Brady making 4 Super Bowls in a row. That would be his 4th in a row because
I think the Patriots got better though.
They did. They got younger.
You gotta wrap it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
They got younger and everything, but yeah. Kansas City's winning the Super Bowl.
Okay.
First,
We'll hold you to that. Obviously, you're on record.
This is their 50th year since winning the Super Bowl.
Okay.
They won Super Bowl 3. They're going to win Super Bowl 53. Make it perfect.
It's also the Bears' 100th year.
They both have perfect stories.
Exactly.
That's why I want them to play each other.
I think it would be.
That would be.
If you made me choose, that's what I'm picking.
Yeah, that would be. I mean,
I think it would have been great last year.
I would have preferred it.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen.
Right.
But yeah, so that was the first podcast.
Yeah, I thought that went well.
Definitely.
And I think eventually we'll start to work in some basketball once that season starts to roll around. And
yeah, I'm
kind of disappointed you're not much of a baseball fan. Granted, I don't have as much baseball knowledge, but
I have none.
So
I couldn't name 5 players on the Cubs. But I enjoyed our fantasy talk.
Our fantasy talk on our unnamed podcast.
Maybe
we'll think of a name by the time this gets uploaded.
I hope so. Names are hard.
Exactly. And we gotta figure out some art for the background or something.
Yeah. But any suggestions from anybody,
we'll take it.
We're listening.
Do you think anybody's still listening to this whole hour and a half?
There's no way.
I think the max that anybody gets to is maybe 45 minutes.
That's how long I would listen to.
Yeah.
I just don't see it.
Do you think you'll listen to this entire thing?
I'm not going to. I know what we said.
I mean, we got to listen to it to some extent to make sure everything works out. What happens when this doesn't work? If this
doesn't work, I think we're gonna have to try again a different day.
Yeah,
it's gonna hurt my feelings.
Yeah,
because this was. I think this was a good podcast.
We gotta do multiple podcasts anyway. So,
hell, we could grind out 2.
That's true. Except I have to be at Sobel in 7 minutes.
All right. Well, that was the first unnamed podcast. Do you guys have any questions you want us to answer?
Yes.
Next time, we will definitely
love
listen.
Suggestions. Yeah, and we'll see you maybe Sunday sometime. We'll figure it out. I would say Sunday at the earliest.
Yes. All right, and have a great day.
Yeah.